Hello and welcome back. So this is how I do ribs. So I was starting with some spare ribs, baby back ribs you want to ask for. I find these that I actually enjoy cooking these ones. You can cook the others, what they call the spare ribs, and they're just as fine. This is probably a bit easier. The spare ribs, you generally sometimes you have to trim a bit more. The only bit I just trimmed actually was just some of the surface fat up here, not a lot of it. I didn't film doing it. But there's really not much work to do in terms of trimming. Okay. I didn't mention earlier about the wood that I'm smoking with today, but it's just going to be the apple and the hickory wood that I use pretty much for most cooks. And that's all I'm going to use again, you know, not over smoking the meat. So the first thing you need to do with this is you've got a membrane on the back here, and you want to remove that. The reason you want to remove that is the seasoning which I'm going to use is not going to penetrate into this meat with this membrane. This is going to stop it from doing it. So we want to take the membrane off. Now, it's not as tricky as it looks. Okay, so sometimes I can get this first go, sometimes I can't. So let's have a go. Again, this is the only rack I've got. So what you do, you just want to get a knife, just a simple household like a butter knife. And you want to get the knife up in between one of the bones, right? Just like so. All right, and just kind of wheel it through, all right? And I'll just lift it a bit like that. Now what you can do is you get a cloth, wipe it down a bit, or a paper towel, and I'm going to pick this up, and if I do it right, it should all come off in one hit. So I just lost grip there, but it was coming. So again, there we go, look at that. So now the membrane just comes off in one hit. All right, and that lets you get your seasoning into the pork. So sometimes it'll take me a couple of, I might have to do that once or twice, but that was actually pretty good. I actually got that first time. So we'll put that to the side, of course, just bin the membrane. Look, there's a bit here of the flap that you can cut off, but you know what, it's still pretty good eating, so I am actually going to leave that bit on there, but I'm just going to pull off a bit more. The membrane is left. Actually, you know what, that just came off. I think that's mostly, you know what, I'm not going to bother with that. I'm not going to bother with that. Change of mind. So, and again, this is the thing about barbecuing. There's no hard and fast rule with this stuff. So now that membrane's off, so I'm just going to get rid of that. I'm going to wrap that up in a bit of towel, and I'm just going to dispose of it afterwards. So this is the membrane I pulled off earlier. I'll just wrap that up. We'll put that to the side, and that's going to go in the bin. So just put that there in one of my trays. I'm going to put the tray over here, so the rest of our family don't decide they want to eat it. So these are the ribs. Now these are now ready to season. So what we're going to do, it's a bit like how I do pulled pork, very, very similar. So we're going to use a bit of mustard to help this rub stick. So we're just going to put a little bit on there like that. All right, rub the mustard around like so. Do it on the back as well. Like that. All right. It's a bit like the pork too. You want to get as much. You want to get the rub, you know, as much on it as well. You want to cover the whole rib rack is basically what I'm trying to say. So, all right. So that's all covered in mustard. Now, the next part of this is putting the seasoning on. Now, for the seasoning today, and I've mentioned this before, this is what I love about barbecue. So many good seasonings you can try and experiment with. It's a lot of fun. I'm actually using pork power, which is, my wife's got a big smile because she knows I'm a big Port Adelaide supporters, so I actually didn't get it for that. Actually, I did. What am I saying? But it actually is a nice tasting rub, and I love the name Port Power. I think that's just awesome. Apologies to anyone who's not a Port supporter, but this still tastes like this is a really nice tasting rub. So I'm going to put some Port Power on there now. All right. And for you Crows fans, you won't be choking at half time with this stuff. Ooh! Ouch. So we're just going to cover this. This is an interesting rub because it looks like there's a lot of chili and spice in it, but I've used this so many times and it really isn't, because I can guarantee you if there was, I know one certain individual who would complain to me about the fact that it's got a lot of spice in it and would ask me never to use this again. But that individual's filming me, and she's never complained about this. So that's probably enough Port Power that I'm going to put on there. And this is obviously a local South Australian rub, clearly with that name. But in all seriousness, this is actually a really, really tasty rub. So I'm going to do it like that. Now the next rub I'm going to use is by a company called Lane's. This is also an Australian place. I use obviously some American rubs, but today it's all Australian, I think. So this is Lane's Barbecue Signature Rub. This stuff is really, really good as well. You can use this on beef, chicken, pork. I've used this on all of that. And yeah, I really, really, really like this rub. So again, you can just, pat it in, cover it up. Don't be afraid to use a bit of rub on this stuff. Like pork can take it. Flip it over. It's a nice red colour, so it puts a nice colour on here as well. So this rub I had to actually order online because I tried a few places and it was sold out. So that tells me when rubs are sold out like that and are hard to get, just that tells me it's a good rub with a good reputation. So yeah, Lane's Barbecue Signature Rub. You can get it online if you can't find it in a butcher. But yeah, this is really, really, it's probably actually one of my favourite all-purpose rubs, this stuff. That's pretty much, I'm just going to put a bit more over here because I see it's a bit of, probably really don't need to, but just put it on the side. But that's pretty much it now. So that's all I'm going to do as far as these ribs are concerned. Well, as far as getting them ready. Ribs is a tricky one to cook because there is, if you look online, you read online, they have you read a lot about what they call a 3-2-1 method, which basically what you do, the theory behind that is you cook it unwrapped for 3 hours, wrap it for 2 hours, and then cook it again unwrapped for the last hour. That's more American. The American ribs are a lot bigger than ours in Australia. Ours are equally as tasty, but the 3-2-1 method on this is going to be too long to cook these ribs. So I've been seeking some advice, and I've done this a few times before with success. 2 hours unwrapped, 1 hour wrapped, and between half an hour to 45 minutes unwrapped again to baste it, which you'll see, which I'll do a bit later. So that's what I'm going for. But ribs, I find the most trickiest meat to cook because not all of them are the same. And yeah, I just find this the most challenging meat so far to do is ribs. So I'm just going to put that aside, and now it's time for the chicken. So okay, clean myself up a little bit here. Chicken. Now I've actually put the chicken in these trays because I knew after I do the ribs I'm going to have a mess on this chopping board. So put the ribs and the chickens in the trays. Wouldn't really matter if some rub got on them anyway, but going that way actually. So doing chicken legs today. I was actually going to brine the chicken legs like I did with my chickens, but I decided against it because there's plenty of meat on here and I'm going to keep a lot of moisture in here anyway. So what I am going to do though is just get some canola oil. I'm going to give these a spray. Like that. This is a homegrown, I was trying to figure out 5 minutes ago what rub to use. This is a homegrown rub from Master Foods. And let me just pop open the top here. Actually this one is open, I'm going to use the other one. This is called Texas Smoky Rub. So it's Master Foods rub. You can buy this in Woolworths for about $3 or $4. So, yeah, it's only about $3 or $4, but geez, it's a really good rub. So I'm just going to put that over the chicken as well. Plate the chicken a bit. So if you want to get into smoking, if you're just starting out, this isn't a bad rub to actually, you know, try with, because this is a good all-purpose rub as well. So I've cooked with this rub a few times as well. So it's always handy to get. When I see it in the supermarket, I generally will pick it up again and keep a couple spare, because oh yeah, this is a really, and if you want to do this on the fly and you're looking for a rub, you know, most supermarkets that do Master Foods will have this rub. So I'm just going to coat the chickens like this. I probably won't put the chicken legs on probably for at least 2, maybe even 2.5 hours. Yep, so they'll be fine. I'll just sit in the fridge, let it marinate a little bit. Yeah, just roll them. I'm just going to roll these around, you know. Make sure that they're coated well. Okay. Just like this. Okay. And now I'm going to do the other one as well. And yeah, these ribs are going to go on the smoker very soon. Probably the next half hour, if that. And yeah, well, I'll catch you back then when I get the smoker fired up, put the ribs on. All right, thank you.